This is Wally Robertson of C-Suite Speaks and Richard Moriali of C-Suite Speaks, and we are here with Mike Fralix of TC Squared, an exemplary executive in the CEO position. We're going to be asking him about how he succeeded and how he'd suggest other people follow in his footsteps. Tell us a little bit, if you would, about your background.
Sure. I was a Navy brat, born in Hawaii. Learned to walk on a ship from Hawaii to San Diego. Lived there for 18 months, moved to Florida, then to Tennessee, then to South Carolina, then to North Carolina, back to Florida. And it really prepared me for the work I do today because I move now more often than every 18 months, even though I've been in the same house for 26 years.
It'd be good to have some idea of the journey that got you here.
Started in industrial engineering. I spent 3 years in that major, and then I ran out of math courses. There was a job opening by a company called Bluebell in Greensboro, North Carolina, and my career advanced through engineering, plant management, operations management, distribution, and a 5-year stint in the research and development facility within the Wrangler Group. So I applied for a job as the manufacturing manager for TC Squared, and my job was going to be to set up a small factory that would be a showcase factory for the industry, chartered to elevate the level of technology that was being used within the sewn products industry. When the company that was going to commercialize the robotic technology started analyzing what the market potential was, they said there are only maybe 3 possible sales in the world of companies that would have the technical resources to do this. So TC Squared reorganized. They decided to open a technology center located in Raleigh and set up a showroom, so to speak, of all the latest advanced technology for the industry, and the timing was perfect. I was hired to come in because I had a background in research and development, but also had a background in manufacturing and automation. And so I started here in 1988 as the manufacturing manager to set up what later became called a teaching factory. Eventually, people said, "We'd like you to come into our factory and train our people there." We are now globally known as not only a technology development organization, but also a leading trainer and consulting organization serving the fashion industry. Again, targeted at elevating the level of technology, improving the manufacturing systems, and helping people rethink their entire business strategies.
I'd like to know a little bit about the role that you play here.
When I would talk to people about, I'm studying how you can ship products before you manufacture them, they would look at me like I was crazy. You can't ship a product before you make it. And then I reminded them that if you print an email, you've actually sent a letter to somebody before it was converted into the paper copy. And the newspaper industry had been moving in that direction. And my role in the research was to move the garment industry in that direction. And so I completed the research, completed the dissertation, wrote the book, and then I was invited to go on stage at industry events because we were developing technologies like 3D body scanning. We were implementing digital printing technologies and other areas, and the industry wanted to hear about them.
Mike, what are the success factors that you think got you to this point in your career?
I don't have a line between when I'm working and when I'm not working. Some people don't understand that. But I say, if you find what you love what you do, then it doesn't matter when or where you do it. And to make connections and have relationships globally. And yes, I think about it as marketing, but it's also implementation. And when you go to a conference and if you do a good job, everybody knows you. Of course, if you do a bad job, they'll know you too. but when you really deliver a powerful presentation and you connect with the audience, and that audience feels like that they do know you, yes, that is very, very rewarding to me. You've heard of left brain, right brain. Well, I call it, which side of the decimal point do you live? And the first half of my career as an industrial engineer, I was on the right-hand side. I could tell you every rate in the factory to 5 decimal places per dozen. In this half of my career, I live on the left side. The higher level, the strategic thinking, the ability to conceptualize what's going on across an industry and work in that space. But don't push me too hard, because I can jump right back to that right-hand side. When we're developing a piece of technology, we need to know exactly how it's going to work. It's kind of taken me where I am. And you couple that with education. I don't mean just getting degrees, but always learning. And if you're going to be a CEO, hire people smarter than you are. You better be the best at some things, but you can't be the best at everything and run an organization. So you need to be able to surround yourself with people that are better than you at the things that you are not as strong at. And that way, together, you can move an organization forward. If you think about it in the right light, it is, how do you engage people? How do you communicate with them effectively? How do you challenge them? And how do you allow them to be able to, in a sense, run their parts of the organization?
What would you recommend to people who'd like to follow in your footsteps?
It just caused me to think about that. I've had a lot of mentors, and what's really fascinating is that our current chairman has just retired from VF Corporation. And it's funny, he told somebody in my presence one time that he expected someday to be working for Mike. But he remembers that day, and so it's nice that you can work with people that respect you regardless of whether they're subordinates or whether they're people that you report to or responsible to. It's kind of like, you really talk about leveling out the playing field. Yes, you have to draw organizational charts, but you don't have to operate according to that hierarchy. Here, if somebody wants to talk to somebody over here and ask something, they don't have to go up the chain, cross over, and go back down. Just go directly to that individual. And as a CEO, you need to be open to that. You need to be able to trust people. Patient. And whatever job you have, do it with all the passion. You cannot have an hourly mentality and be a CEO or be a vice president. And then don't try to get there at the expense of others. You'll get a lot further by making friends, learning how to communicate, learning how to understand different personalities. You know, we see it in politics a lot. Sometimes it's just a different personality that creates a belief. And the other thing is honor individuals. Try to avoid group behavior. I always say group behavior is what causes wars. So those are just some of the things that crossed my mind when you asked the question.
Thank you very much, Mike. We really appreciate the time you spent with us and certainly appreciate the information you've imparted. I feel confident that people who see this video will begin to understand how they too can become successful executives in the C-suite.